Yo, what's good, Ninja? OJ here. Welcome to another video. Today, we've got some interesting information for you guys, so let's go ahead and get right into it. And we are starting off with Nintendo adding a virtual console section to the Nintendo Switch eShop, JSON, that includes N64 and DS categories. So this was something that kind of came up on Twitter recently. However, it does seem like it's just Nintendo standardizing the files, according to Kev, Doi, and many other people that were commenting there. This doesn't mean that Nintendo's going to add a Nintendo eShop virtual console section or anything like that. I think Nintendo's pretty set in their way of doing the online with the NES games and probably moving over to Super Nintendo and other games in the future. I think they're trying to build upon that, but it is something within the files here. But I don't think we're going to get that traditional virtual console. Some people are trying to make it seem as if this is the proof that we're going to get that, especially with the N64 and DS categories. I don't think that's going to happen. Nintendo's been pretty slow to do a lot of different features with the Nintendo Switch. Adding in N64 and DS games before we even get Super Nintendo here would be kind of weird, in my opinion. Heck, might be weird enough to where Nintendo would do it, but at the same time, I just don't think Nintendo's going to do that. There has been some talk when it comes to virtual console, and what that has done for Nintendo. Is it actually beneficial for their systems or not? I know a lot of people do like virtual console. I have never been a huge fan of continuously rebuying the same classic games that I've already bought multiple times. I'm actually a fan of the Netflix style service that you just get with your online subscription. I like that. I like that they're just going to be continuously adding games, and if for some reason, some way, shape, or how that it stays $20 for the duration of the Nintendo Switch's life, to me that's actually really cool, because there's going to be a ton of games on there, all with online play for the multiplayer ones. So I'll take that over the overpriced NES and Super Nintendo games and all the stuff that they usually do. However, we'll have to wait and see on this one, guys, just because I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what Nintendo's thinking with this one, but I just don't feel virtual console is something that they're going to just bring back in the same way. I think you're still going to have classic games, and I think that's what some people don't understand. Like, they're so bent on that name virtual console, they don't realize that the Nintendo Switch already has a bunch of classic games like a virtual console. It's just not named that. You have Sega Ages, you have Neo Geo, you have Arcade Archives. There's already a bunch of classic games on there to where you can pick up, but a lot of these games, especially with Sega Ages, have enhancements and improvements, or they have online play, like with the subscription service or something like that. So there's been enhancements to these old school games that are coming. You have the Beat 'em Ups collection, which is a collection of old games that you can play online with your friends. So there's already kind of like the new style of virtual console on the Nintendo Switch, where it's just called the games come out and you play them. You know, it's just not under the moniker virtual console, and not necessarily the same style what they did or the release layout or just stuff like that, but still, there's still tons of classic games to play on the Nintendo Switch as if it was a virtual console. So I think that's just more so the name than anything. But like Kev Doi says here, and like many other people did say on the thread, it looks like Nintendo is just standardizing the file. I know a lot of people are wishing that it was a little bit more than that, but not me, man. I'm not a huge fan of the prices of the virtual console service. I'd rather take my chances on getting Super Metroid in the Nintendo Switch like online than paying $7 or $8 for it normally, or whatever the price the Super Nintendo games were. Like, I'd always buy like a few Super Nintendo games and like an NES game or two. That was already like $30 in the games that I would buy. But that's just me. I know a lot of you guys are different. That's just the way that my thought process is. But then again, I mean, I've already bought these games multiple times. I have the NES Classic, I have the Super Nintendo Classic, I have all these things. So for me, it's kind of like whatever. But we'll have to wait and see what they do with this one. I don't think it means much more than just the standardizing of the file, but you never know with these things, right? So what do you guys think about this first story here? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, guys, and moving on to something that's a little bit more of a sad note, and I wanted to say rest in peace to Chris Taylor, the huge Smash Brothers fan that recently got his wish to play Super Smash Bros. Ultimate because he has terminal cancer. Well, unfortunately, he has been taken away from us. He did pass away from cancer recently, and I talked about this a bit on my PE Live, and sorry if I can't formulate my words well enough, just because this really, shook me up a bit this morning. But I felt that he was just hanging on. He was just hanging on for the opportunity, because when you're in that type of stage of cancer, you're at home, obviously good things aren't going to happen when you're at home and you're not in the hospital continuing to get like the utmost care from the doctors that are right there. So I felt that he was just hanging on to be able to play Smash Brothers at some point. Maybe if you can just get that opportunity. And it seems like that was the case, since he did pass away just recently. There is a statement from his brother, which I'll get to, but it's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate that that he at least could not make it to the normal release of the game and everything. But I felt that after he got his wish, I'm not sure if his body could just keep up with the intense pain and just being bedridden. It's not a good situation. Not a good situation at all. So let me go ahead and read the statement from Chris's brother. Quote, "Today, Chris passed away at around 5 p.m. EST. He was surrounded by friends and family when it happened in the comfort of his own home. On behalf of him and our family, we are extremely thankful for all the love and support Chris has gotten. You guys made it possible for his wish to come true. I hope Chris's memory lives on through all of us when we game. Just remember this once. Everybody got together for the most genuine man I've ever known. He just wanted to get out there, meet some people, and play some games. Unfortunately, he can't do that anymore, so let's continue his legacy for him." So definitely keeping Chris in my thoughts. I mean, it's one of those things where I say on my PE Live quite a bit, guys, this is a privilege for you to be here. This is not your divine right. The fact that you guys are even here, that's pretty much a miracle in its own right. Being born and making it to whatever age that you are, teenager, adult, that is even a miracle in its own right. And don't ever take that for granted. Don't ever take your ability to play games and live for granted. Obviously, you're going to go through rough times, right? I've been through it. I talk about it all the time back in 2013 and how Fire Emblem Awakening, a video game, saved me. So don't ever take it for granted, guys. Understand that it's games, and games are meant to be fun and played, and realize that not everybody has the privilege. Chris Taylor no longer has that privilege to be playing it right here on this planet. Maybe he's playing somewhere else, and I'm hoping that he is, but he doesn't have that privilege anymore. So don't take it for granted that you can play all these cool games. Love, live life, and do all that, because this really does suck. This is horrible, and it really pains me that he couldn't last longer. There wasn't some type of miracle. I mean, I knew that maybe the latter wouldn't happen, but I was hoping that he could at least make it to the launch and then just be there with friends and family while it launched and everything, and maybe he can get a chance to play it again, not having to have like the whole bring it to the house, like the reps and all that stuff. Just have it in his house comfortably. But it's unfortunate he didn't make it to that time point, but at least he got his wish fulfilled. RIP Chris Taylor, you'll be missed by everybody here in the village, and of course everybody that supported you online, all of your friends and family, man. So what do you guys think about this? Give me some of your thoughts on this story here. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section below. All right, and moving into the last topic here, Monster Hunter Stories for smartphones is now available in the West. So if you were looking at potentially getting this game outside of the Nintendo 3DS, it is here for smartphones. But I do think that this is going to lead to something else, and I'm not going to waste all the time going over all the different stuff that Monster Hunter Stories has. If you don't know about this game, it's pretty good. You can recruit monsters, you can fight with monsters in network battles, you have new features for the smartphone versions as well. You guys can check that out, link in the description below. But now that they have a version of it in the West, pretty much in HD with the iOS version of the game, or more of a higher quality, you have the ARM version of the game. Could this be making the jump to the Nintendo Switch now that it's on smartphones and everything? I think it's very possible that Capcom does bring this game over at some point. Maybe it's not 2018, probably be a 2019 title, but I think that they'd have it at a Nintendo Direct, just like they've announced a couple of bigger games at Nintendo Directs, or bigger ports, for example, like Resident Evil, the collection, the Resident Evil Revelations collection. last year's big September Direct had that. Also, I do want to mention that the Capcom Beat 'em Ups collection, that was actually announced at the big Nintendo Direct that we recently had as well. So Capcom usually has a big port or two that they save for these Nintendo Directs. So I do think that it's possible that we can get a Monster Hunter Stories on the Nintendo Switch at some point in 2019, now that it's made the full jump over to the West and on iOS or smartphone devices. And Monster Hunter Stories, in my opinion, I actually like it more than the standard typical Monster Hunter, which I've tried to get into multiple times. People always rave about it. I've watched a lot of Monster Hunter. It looks great. And then when I play the game, I'm like, well, I don't really think this is too much fun for me. However, when I played the demo for Monster Hunter Stories, I was blown away by how good the game is. It's actually a really cool standard turn-based RPG with a lot of great elements to it. Maybe it's because I'm more of a big RPG fan than I am just like, I think Monster Hunter is more of just like an action adventure type of game, multiplayer action adventure type of game, which I'm not huge on relying on a bunch of other people for multiplayer all the time. I'm just not that person. I like single player RPGs more. So I think that's the reason why. I'm not trying to say Monster Hunter Stories is so much better than Monster Hunter, the typical vanilla one, which I don't think it is. I think overall they're both good games, but I do feel that Monster Hunter Stories could make the jump to Nintendo Switch at some point 2019 just because of this, and seeing that they want to globalize the brand, and on top of that, Capcom ports over everything. So PortCom will strike again, and I think it's going to strike with this game on the Switch in 2019. So what do you guys think about all the different stories that we discussed here today? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, Ninja, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We got Facebook and Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Really helps us spread the content of PlayerEssence across the internet in addition to YouTube. Also, make sure you check out our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube live gaming pages. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Lets me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for the latest RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you, Ninja, for the next video. Peace.